Hi, friend. Welcome to Holly's Highlights, a podcast designed to encourage, inspire, and equip you to intentionally live your life full of purpose. I'm your host, Holly Kirby, motivational speaker, leadership cultivator, marketing strategist, and personal cheerleader. Let's check out today's highlight. Looking to broaden your reach and connecting with new customers? Wanting to get your organization, ministry, or business name out there in new areas? Seeking a different avenue to draw people to your website, social media site, or even get involved in your activity within their community? Well, exclusive pre-roll sponsorships are now available in the 2022 year on Holly's Highlights podcast. Share your promotional information before an episode. Have your contact information in the show notes on the podcast episode page on hollykirby.com, and even receive added social media exposure. From luxury resorts, insurance agencies, and home-based businesses to nonprofit organizations, ministries, and colleges, many have found added value and benefit from sponsoring an episode of Holly's Highlights during this past year. Want more information? Simply email contact@hollykirby.com or reach out on the contact page at hollykirby.com. Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. I love this time of year. I love the weather. I love bundling up. I love to look out and see all the leaves, and even better to walk in them and the sound that they make. I enjoy going up to Starbucks and getting a caramel steamer. And I really love the traditions. I think that as soon as November hits, we start these traditions all the way through, of course, Thanksgiving and into Christmas and even New Year's. I just love it. So right now, in fact, my kiddos and I are just getting ready to sit down and make our annual Thanksgiving turkeys. It's a tradition my mom started with me when I was younger and then passed on to my children as they came along. And we simply buy ding dongs that you can get at the grocery store. And then my mom, who was a kindergarten teacher, she had a pattern for every craft imaginable for every holiday that you can think of. So she has this cute little turkey head with feathers pattern, and we simply print off the paper, color it, cut it out, and then stick the head on the front of the ding dong and the feathers on the back of the ding dong. And they turn out pretty cute and make decorative table name cards. And we can even write on the feathers something we're grateful for in that person receiving them, so the place that we're putting them in front of that plate. Or we even can make it a fun Thanksgiving lunch project where everyone writes on their own turkey feathers the 5 things that they're thankful for. But regardless, it's just fun. It's cute. We do it every year. Another tradition that we have on Thanksgiving is our family goes around the table before we eat and we say one thing we're especially grateful for that year. Well, as a child, I always found it hard to find what I was thankful for, or they seemed so trivial, that I'm thankful for my toys and my Barbies, or that I got to have a down day from school. But as an adult, I'm finding it's harder and harder to actually narrow it down to 5, let alone one thing I'm most grateful for. God is so good. And as I mature and grow in my walk with Him, I truly see something each and every day for which to give thanks. And that alone I'm grateful for. Now, one thing that I'm grateful for this year is you. It was 1 year ago this month that Holly's Highlights podcast launched. Now, let me bring you up to speed for a moment. My mother, who passed away from glioblastoma brain cancer 2 years ago, she had encouraged me for years to write a book. Well, the day that she died, I promised her I would follow through on that. And thanks to a pandemic shortly after, I found time to actually write the book over this past year. And as I've been pursuing publishing, I was advised to start a podcast in preparation for the book launch. Now, if you're like me, I don't see how these two fit together, but in the publishing world, they do. Well, so much has happened as a result within this past first year of the podcast. The Holly's Highlights received Podcast of the Month on Podcast Land during its first month launched. It's had 37 episodes published in 1 year, thousands upon thousands of downloads, 5-star rating on Apple Podcast, encouraging comments and feedback, and reaching sponsorship level too. So it's been so clear that God has been in this, and I am humbled and grateful to be a part of what He is doing in and through Holly's Highlights podcast. So thank you, listener. Thank you, friend, for your support in making all of this happen. I'll confess, though, this makes me a mixture of terrified, anxious, and beyond ecstatic to see what God has planned for the book, as the podcast was just the pathway leading up to it. But even that book hasn't come while dancing with unicorns and sugar plum fairy worlds type thing. No, the book is in regards of hardships, of tough roads walked and challenges persevered. And yet, through it all, there is still so much to be grateful for. So often we seem to expect these blessings in life to just come in a nicely wrapped package, like for Christmas morning, a big giant bow on top. But in reality, our blessings come through our daily hardships, trials, and learning to have that attitude of gratitude despite our circumstances or our obstacles that we're facing. So how do we develop this attitude of gratitude? Well, I think there's mainly 4 things that we're going to focus on today that at least can help us start to have a different perspective in adapting to having an attitude of gratitude. The first one would be we must look for it. Each and every day, we must be intentional in putting that effort forward to look around and see what you can be thankful for. The other day, I was driving to a meeting and I saw a bird wading in a pool of water, just gathered off to the side of the road. Now, my daughter makes fun of me sometimes because I know I'm really sentimental, but here this little bird, it made me think of how even the pothole, as we'd see it, was actually a provision for that little bird. To him, was basking in his nice little bird bath. So my frustrations of whatever happened to be going on that day, they just didn't seem as big after I saw this little bird wading in his little pond. Because I could see that there was going to be provisions for me and my family too. Now think about it for a moment. Reflecting on our day, we often tend to react or reflect more toward what happened to us versus what happened for us. But if we take a moment to look around, we'll see that many things can contribute to this attitude of gratitude. The second thing would be to write it down. Now, there's some of you who like to journal, or others who blog, many who Facebook or tweet or post on Instagram, whatever, wherever, it will work for whatever does for you. So just write it down. My mom wrote blessings and things she was thankful for in her Bible, or in her devotions, or even on little scraps of paper that I'm still finding to this day. And now that she's gone, those little scribblings are priceless to me. I can look through and see God at work in her life throughout all of the years and her testimony of being positive, optimistic, hopeful, and appreciative, grateful. They're all evident on each and every one of those pages. That in itself, I am grateful for. Not only was she able to go back and she see all she had been given, but I'm able to bear witness to her attitude of gratitude, even when I know things weren't going perfect. Number 3, share it. My children and I sit down every night around the dinner table, something that I grew up with and is very important to me to do with them and to pass along hopefully to their children. But we one by one share what was the worst part of our day. Because let's be honest, we all have something that felt like a speed bump along the way. And I want my kids to be observant of that and that not every day is going to feel like Disneyland. But then we end on a high note. We end on what was the best part of our day. I love hearing of the grateful hearts of my kids, whether it be a new friend they met, a test they did well on, perhaps an encouraging word they received, or even that they were appreciative of just time together with one another. That's one of my favorites, is time with one another, or when they appreciate each other's attributes or what they have done for one another. But we just share the goodness of the day, which then encourages each other in making sure we're intentionally looking for it too. Attitudes are contagious. Negative or positive, what attitude do you want to pass on today? Then share it. Number 4, live it. As I tell my children, don't sit and sulk, but look for the blessings. The other day, I wanted to spend time with my dad. I relish in time with my family. And he was busy, so I was a little bummed over not getting to spend time with him. But my daughter ended up not having to work that day. So I was excited to then spend a little bit of extra time with her. Well, she happened to catch my dad at just the right time, and off they went and had fun shopping and going on a walk with my dad's dog and hanging out. I'll admit, I was jealous and I was disappointed. I had a moment of sulking too. But then I reminded myself, my dad lives 4 houses down from me. I am grateful. My daughter loves to spend time with my dad. They are so super close and he is her hero. I'm grateful. And this new founded moment that I found alone, kind of pressed me into reading a book or parts of a book that I had kind of put off, which had some great insights for me. So just that time, unexpected time alone to be able to go in and do something, accomplish something I wouldn't have otherwise, I'm grateful. Instead of looking at what we don't have or didn't get to do, count our blessings instead. Now, my son is finally coming around to this one. Don't you love those parenting moments when they start actually listening? You're like, oh, they heard me. They actually heard what I said. But he was bummed at a pumpkin patch that we were at that I wouldn't let him buy the humongous pumpkin that would have taken 3 of us to lift into the cart, let alone I have a clue how we would have gotten it out of the car once we got home. But instead of being upset about it or throwing a fit or, oh, Mom, you're so mean or anything like that, he looked at me and said, I'm not going to be bummed about that pumpkin because I'm going to be thankful I get to get a pumpkin at all. Now, needless to say, living out this attitude of gratitude to my 11-year-old, which I'm sure he was still bummed, but just without any reminders for me, how he responded, let's just say he may have gone home with a slightly bigger pumpkin than planned. And both of us had joy in our hearts, just at one, what he ended up getting, but for me, how his attitude of gratitude showed during that moment. See, having an attitude of gratitude simply comes from being intentional in expressing our gratitude or our thankfulness or our appreciation in every part of our life. The good, the bad, the ugly. Look for it. Write it down, share it, then live it. Often in life, we're constantly just chasing that next thing. Yet, as it's been said before, don't forget how badly you once wanted what you have now. Let's reflect on that in a moment. Don't forget how badly you once wanted what you have now. Now, that could be a job, a home, a family, a relationship, a bank account, a car, maybe a sense of belonging or rest, however you find rest, good health, a trip, or security or safety. Sometimes in life, we just get so busy wanting more or expecting for things to go differently that we forget about what we already have or the blessings that have come out of the altered path. I heard a story once. I don't know who the author is, so I apologize, but it goes something like this. The little child whispered, God, speak to me. And a meadowlark sang, but the child did not hear. So the child yelled, God, speak to me. And the thunder rolled across the sky, but the child did not listen. The child looked around and said, God, let me see you. And a star shone brightly, but the child did not notice. And the child shouted, God, show me a miracle. And a life was born, but the child did not know. So the child cried in despair, touch me, God, and let me know you're here. Whereupon God reached down and touched the child. But the child brushed the butterfly away and walked away unknowingly. Oftentimes, the things we seek are right underneath our noses. Friend, don't miss out on your blessing because it isn't packaged the way that you expect. Today, may we choose to have an attitude of gratitude. Look for it, write it down, share it, live it. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for joining me on this journey of life. I hope that today's highlight has been encouraging, inspiring, and equipping so you can go out and live your life full of purpose. I'd be honored if you'd take a moment to leave a review, or better yet, subscribe. We can also stay in touch by joining my email list at hollykirby.com. That's HOLLYCURBY.com. Until next time, make it a great day for a great day.